And welcome back as we continue on live here from Prairie Meadows Racetrack and Casino, a Friday show taking you up until 7 o'clock here tonight. Jim and I are off on Monday. In fact, Cardinal baseball will be at our place, so you get to stay away for the whole weekend, Mr. Brinson.
You know, this has been great. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to catch up on my sleep.
Wow, very well played. Speaking of that, he's Dr. Grant. He's back with us from the Iowa Sleep Disorder Center. 2 locations, one in Ankeny, one in West Des Moines, iowasleep.com for all the information, insurance info, et cetera, et cetera. Dr. Grant, good to see you again.
I'm back. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with an issue that was a sleep issue that made national headlines, seems like only a few weeks ago, and that was our air traffic controllers. Falling asleep on their job. If there's a guy that you want wide awake, it would be, well, either the pilot or the guy that's helping the pilot, right?
Scary stuff, sure.
It really is.
Sure. Well, I often get asked this question about people falling asleep on the job, and when you talk about real mission-critical vocations such as being in air traffic control, it really leads one to say, hey, why were these people falling asleep, and what's really involved in that job? And I'll often reflect upon patients that I meet clinically that have somewhat non-stimulating jobs that do complain of falling asleep at work and why that is. And, controlling for some of the patients that I see that do have obesity, obstructive sleep apnea, snoring, controlling for all that, I would gently make the observation that I believe as a society we are clearly sleep deprived.
Well, I can identify with that.
Yeah, well,
because I struggle sometimes.
I think we all do. Absolutely. What's the magic number sleep-wise?
Yeah.
Is there such a thing?
And can you catch up on sleep? I made that funny remark. I'm going to hang out this weekend and catch up on sleep. You don't really catch up, do you?
You can pay the debt back, but it takes a surprisingly long period of time. I mean, A lot of people say, "Oh, it'll just take a day or two," but it actually takes much longer than that.
Right.
Looking at cognitive performance, not so much some metrics around sleep studies per se, but when we talk about the concept of a magic number, we often invoke that get 8 hours a night sleep. And that comes off of some broad population-based studies where we looked at an average of what people determined to be an optimal sleep period. But again, looking at it as part of a bell curve and the middle part of the curve, we know that there are people that need less and there are people that need more. And a significant amount of the population needs 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. But I often find most of my patients are only getting 6 or 7 hours a night sleep, and therefore running with a certain degree of sleep deprivation and that kind of chronic daily fatigue and sleepiness that they run across.
Who is impacted maybe the most? Is it men, women, age determines that? What?
Well, heading up into menopause for women, men clearly outrace the ladies by about 3-to-1 margin on presentation for sleep disorder breathing and obstructive sleep apnea. In the postmenopausal population, those numbers even out. Men are still ahead, but the gap is significantly closed with women. And the other confounding variable is weight. We see a propensity of identified sleep disordered breathing in obese patients. So when you control for body mass index or the degree of someone's obesity, you can see a higher disproportionate rate of obstructive sleep apnea and sleep disordered breathing in obese patients.
Dr. Grant, we'll get you out of here on this. We appreciate you coming in here today. If a guy's driving home from work today, getting ready to go to, or a woman, into their weekend, and they're having trouble sleeping, they feel that they're sleep deprived, what are a couple of things that, if they were to call you and you were to pick up the phone in the office, what are a couple of things that they would say to you that perhaps you can relay to our listening audience that you might suffer from this?
Well, I think that insight and awareness is key in life, Ken. No matter what you end up doing in life, you just kind of have to know your limitations. And I'm always intrigued at the number of people, at how sleepy and tired they are, that get involved with events, whether it's operating a motor vehicle or trying to get through their work day or volitionally limiting sleep because I'm going to stay up tonight and get this project done and get up real early in the morning. And if I had one thing to say, probably today I'd like to emphasize driving safety. I think a lot of people operate motor vehicles with an alarming degree of sleep deprivation that lead to unfortunate outcomes, whether it's close calls or accidents. There's a convincing body of literature out there that states 1 in 5, 20% of all motor vehicle accidents, Ken, are related to sleep deprivation and operating motor vehicles in sleep-deprived states.
And this isn't just truckers going across the country.
Right.
Correct.
This is everybody.
Yeah, I mean, people with a commercial driver's license now are beholden to get tested
Right.
and identified, but in the general population, we don't hold a license against someone if you have obstructive sleep apnea or it's not treated or a sleep disorder. But with that being said, a lot of the common myths about I'll just put the radio on loud, I'll keep the window down,
Drink coffee.
I'll drink coffee. That doesn't work real well. And the one way to mitigate the effect of operating a motor vehicle if fatigued is pull off to the side of the road and take a brief nap. Even a 15 or 20-minute nap can be restorative enough to get you safely home without hurting yourself or someone else.
That's good info, especially on this long weekend. A lot of people getting behind the wheel. Dr. Grant, you have a great long weekend.
Thank you.
All right, iowasleep.com is the website, Iowa Sleep Disorder Center. If you have any questions, insurance is, as we said earlier in the week when the doc was here, they are independent. They are not attached to any of the hospitals out there. Go online, iowasleep.com, check things out. And if you think that you have some of the symptoms or you'd like more information, they would be more than happy to hear from you. All right, we're going to come back on the other side. The 5 o'clock hour rolls along here as we continue from Prairie Meadows on Des Moines Sports Station 1460 KXnO.